There are connections in this life that go beyond words, beyond logic, even beyond understanding. Sometimes you meet someone and something inside of you stirs. Something ancient, something almost cosmic. It's not the kind of chemistry that burns hot and fizzles out. It's not infatuation. It's deeper than desire and quieter than passion. It's an energy, a pull, a magnetic alignment that you can't rationalize, but you also can't deny. When he's the one chosen by the universe, you'll feel it before you can even explain it. You'll notice how his presence feels strangely familiar, like you've known him before, even if it's the first time your eyes have ever met. It's as though your souls recognize each other in a way your mind hasn't yet caught up to. There's no need to impress, no need to pretend. You just exist beside each other, and in that space, something sacred unfolds. You're not trying to hold on tightly, and yet, you feel deeply held by something much larger than him or you. And then the synchronicities begin. Strange coincidences that don't feel accidental. Maybe you kept running into him before you ever actually spoke. Maybe you dreamed of a man like him long before he ever appeared. Maybe you noticed that the timing of your meeting came right after a deep transformation within yourself. A shedding, a release, an awakening. When the universe aligns someone for your journey, it does not do so randomly. It orchestrates it in a way that fits into your soul's evolution, like a final missing piece in a puzzle that's been forming for lifetimes. And you won't be loud in his entrance. There won't be fireworks that leave you blind. Instead, there will be a calm intensity, a grounded knowing, a gravitational force that quietly centers you. You'll notice that your energy feels more expansive in his presence, not drained, not chaotic, but elevated. Not because he's trying to fix you or complete you, but because he naturally exists on a similar frequency. You won't be shrinking to meet him where he is, and he won't be overwhelmed by your depth. You'll simply be together, aligned, and effortlessly connected. This pull isn't about obsession. It's not about possession. It's about resonance. His energy will match yours in a way that brings your intuition to the surface. You'll feel safe even in your vulnerability. You'll feel inspired, not intimidated. You won't feel the urge to question your worth, because his presence won't trigger old patterns of survival. It will invite you into a higher state of being, a state where love doesn't create chaos, but clarity. And the mind will still try to understand. It will ask questions. It will look for flaws. It will doubt the simplicity of it. But the soul will just know. Because it isn't bound by timelines or expectations. It doesn't need guarantees. It feels truth when it's in its presence. And when you're in his presence, something feels undeniably true. Even when things aren't perfect, the connection doesn't feel fragile. Even in silence, it feels like something is speaking between you. You'll notice that time begins to bend. Hours feel like minutes. You lose track of the world when he's near, not in a distracted way, but in a deeply conscious one. Your awareness sharpens. You notice the way he listens, not just with his ears, but with his whole being. You sense the unspoken respect. You feel the emotional availability, the steady warmth that doesn't demand anything but still offers everything. There is a softness in this kind of connection, a kind of love that doesn't seek to possess, but to witness, a presence that allows you to return to yourself, not the self shaped by others' expectations, but the self you were always becoming. That's the difference between someone chosen by your ego and someone chosen by the universe. One makes you chase, the other makes you remember. You begin to realize that this connection isn't just about romance. It's spiritual, it's awakening, it's alignment. And as you go deeper into it, you feel that the universe is not just bringing someone into your life, it's revealing the part of yourself that had been waiting to be met, to be mirrored, to be held in divine reflection. And when you try to explain it to others, the words won't quite fit. Because it's not a story, it's a feeling, one only your soul fully understands. When he's the one chosen by the universe, you don't fall in love, you recognize it. There are moments in life that defy explanation. When something or someone enters your reality, and it doesn't feel like a beginning, it feels like a return, a homecoming. When he is the one chosen by the universe, this is what it feels like. You won't recognize him with your mind. You'll recognize him with your soul. It won't be logic that draws you to him. It will be energy. That deep, magnetic pull you can't name, but you feel it with certainty. He won't look like everything you thought you wanted, but he will feel like everything you forgot you needed. That is the first clue. This kind of connection doesn't scream, it whispers. It hums beneath the surface of your awareness. It feels like déjà vu when you speak, as if the words were already shared somewhere else before this lifetime. You find yourself finishing each other's thoughts, understanding each other in silence, and sensing one another even at a distance. You may brush it off as coincidence, but your inner knowing keeps tugging at you, reminding you that something bigger is at play. The universe doesn't orchestrate this sort of bond by accident. It's far more intelligent than that. There are thousands of people you pass by every day, faces, stories, timelines crossing yours. And yet, when he enters, time seems to slow down. The noise quiets, the atmosphere shifts. It's like the world pauses long enough for your soul to speak up and say, "Pay attention to this." You may not know why just yet, but you feel it in your body, in your nervous system, in your breath. You feel safe without knowing why. You feel awake. And that's no ordinary meeting. We speak so often of attraction in shallow terms, appearance, charm, charisma. But what happens when the pull has nothing to do with the surface, when it's not about what he does or how he looks, but how you feel in his presence? This is where the truth lives. When he is divinely aligned with your path, his energy doesn't overpower you, it resonates. You don't lose yourself in him. You find more of yourself around him. It's not fireworks and chaos, it's gravity. He grounds you, not because he tries to, but because he simply exists at a frequency your soul understands. Your nervous system will tell the truth before your mind does. Around him, you won't feel the need to shrink, prove, or perform. You will simply breathe easier. Your guard will drop without effort. You won't be calculating your next move or protecting your heart with caution. Instead, you'll notice you feel seen, in a way that makes no sense and perfect sense all at once. This isn't a bond that demands explanation. It exists beyond that. It's the energy of two souls meeting at the right time, for the right reason, in a way you couldn't have planned. And there will be signs, synchronicities. You'll notice patterns. Repeating numbers, songs, names, places. You'll hear something he said echoed in a stranger's voice. You'll feel guided in small, intimate ways that seem meaningless to others, but deeply symbolic to you. That's how the universe speaks when it wants you to notice. And if you're awake enough to feel it, you'll know this is not just a relationship. It's a soul assignment, a divine intersection between fate and free will. There is a kind of intimacy that forms without words, an emotional atmosphere you share with someone that feels older than both of you. He will not complete you because you were never incomplete, but in his presence you'll remember parts of yourself that had gone quiet, not because he gives you permission, but because the frequency of his energy awakens something dormant in you. And this is the power of alignment. It doesn't teach, it remembers. Of course, there may be fear. Not because he feels unsafe, but because he feels real. And real love, soul love, divine love, it demands a version of you that isn't hiding. So you may find yourself questioning it, doubting it, testing it, but no matter how much the mind tries to interrupt, the heart will return to stillness in his presence. That stillness is your compass. That peace is your truth. It's easy to overlook something that feels calm when we've been conditioned to equate love with chaos. But the universe doesn't operate through emotional instability. It moves through balance, clarity, resonance. So if he feels like peace, like understanding, like depth, without drama. Don't run from that. It's not too good to be true, it's just unfamiliar. Because your soul is finally remembering what alignment feels like. When he's the one chosen by the universe, you don't chase him and he doesn't chase you. You both arrive. Without force, without pressure, without confusion. You just arrive. And in that arrival, something eternal begins. Most people think love is only about being accepted for who they are, about being embraced in the light. But when he's truly chosen for you, when the universe aligns you with someone meant to walk beside your soul, it doesn't stop there. It goes deeper. The right one doesn't just reflect your light, he reflects your shadows too. Not to criticize, not to break you down, but to reveal the parts of yourself that are still waiting to be healed, waiting to be seen. Because real love doesn't just comfort, it transforms. When this kind of connection enters your life, it often catches you off guard. At first, it feels like you've found someone who gets you without you having to explain yourself. You feel understood, maybe for the first time in a long time. But the deeper you go, the more you begin to notice something else. This person has a way of touching the places you've hidden, the stories you've buried, the parts of you that still ache. And the most surprising part? He doesn't do it forcefully. He does it just by being there. He becomes a mirror, not a mirror that flatters or distorts, but one that reflects your truth, both the beautiful and the broken. In his presence, you start to notice your patterns, your fears, your emotional reflexes. Maybe you react in ways you thought you'd outgrown. Maybe you find yourself vulnerable in places you thought were sealed shut. But it's not regression, it's revelation. The universe sends him to awaken something, not to punish you, but to evolve you. Because love, real love, is the greatest teacher of all. And this can be uncomfortable. Because it's not always soft. It's not always about harmony and agreement. Sometimes he'll trigger a wound you didn't know was still there. Sometimes you'll feel raw, exposed. You might even feel resistance or confusion. Why does he make me feel so much? But the answer lies in the mirror. He is showing you your reflection, and your soul is responding. This is where the growth begins. You'll start to see yourself through his eyes. Not just the version you want the world to see, but the one underneath the image. The version of you that still carries weight, that still seeks safety, that still longs to be chosen. He won't judge it. He won't fix it. He will simply reflect it back to you with presence, with patience, with awareness. And in doing so, he invites you to meet yourself fully. This reflection isn't always about flaws. Sometimes it's about potential. Sometimes it's about the power you forgot you held. When he sees you standing in your purpose, when he believes in you before you believe in yourself, that's also a mirror. He's not just showing you what needs healing, he's showing you what you're capable of. And when someone sees both your wounds and your strength and holds space for both, that is when transformation becomes possible. But understand this, it takes a certain level of inner maturity to embrace this kind of bond. Not everyone is ready to be mirrored so deeply. Not everyone can stand in that kind of truth. Many run from it, mistaking the discomfort for dysfunction. But the ones who stay, the ones who lean in, those are the ones who rise. He'll hold up the mirror not just when things are easy, but when things get messy. When you shut down, when you lash out, when your walls go up, and in those moments you'll be tempted to retreat, to protect the identity you've always worn. But something about his presence makes it harder to lie to yourself. Not because he demands the truth, but because you want to be honest with him. You want to be real, and that's the power of the mirror. It calls your highest self forward without force. Even the arguments will feel different. Because underneath the tension, there's a current of respect. A feeling that both of you are being challenged to grow, not just to win. You'll begin to understand that every emotional reaction is not just about him, it's about what he's helping you uncover. And this is not accidental. The universe brings him to you not just to love you, but to awaken you. This kind of relationship is sacred because it doesn't just affirm who you are, it evolves who you are becoming. And that's how you know it's not ego, it's not fantasy, it's not codependency. It's alignment. It's soul-level work. It's someone who can hold your light and your darkness and still choose to stay. You may not always like what you see in the mirror, but if he's the one chosen for you, you'll be grateful for the reflection. Because through him, you'll meet the parts of yourself you were never brave enough to face. And in facing them, you'll become whole. There's something quietly powerful about the way peace enters your life when the right person arrives. Not the kind of peace that's loud or showy, not something that needs to prove itself. It's the peace that settles into your bones, the kind that shows up without knocking and stays without asking. When he's the one chosen by the universe, you feel it first in your nervous system. It's not about butterflies or adrenaline. It's not the rush that leaves you questioning your worth. It's the calm, the deep, stabilizing calm that reminds you you're exactly where you're meant to be. You may not even realize it at first. You're so used to noise. You're used to people who say the right words but carry chaos behind their smiles. You've met people whose energy drains you even when they seem charming. You've been through relationships that made you question your intuition, your sanity, your value. And then he appears. And everything gets quiet. Not boring, just still, whole. It's not the absence of feeling, it's the presence of clarity. You begin to notice that around him you breathe differently, deeper, slower. Your mind stops rehearsing what to say. You stop second-guessing how to act. There's no role to play, no need to impress. You can just be. And in that stillness, you remember who you were before the world told you to armor up. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. When the universe chooses someone for you, it doesn't come with drama. It doesn't come with endless highs and painful lows. It comes with consistency, with steadiness. He becomes the calm within your storm, not because he fixes you or solves your life, but because his presence doesn't add to your chaos. He doesn't create confusion, he helps clear it. He doesn't leave you wondering where you stand, he anchors you with the way he shows up. And what's even more powerful is that he does this without demanding attention. He's not loud about his loyalty. He's not flashy with his care. It's in the small things, the way he listens when you're not speaking, the way he remembers what matters to you, the way he's fully present when you're together. It's in the way he respects your silence, holds your vulnerability with reverence, and never makes you feel like you need to hide your softness. He doesn't try to rescue you from your pain. He sits with you in it, fully, with no agenda. That's not just love, that's divine presence. And maybe for the first time, you realize that love doesn't have to be war, that stability is not the absence of passion, it's the foundation that allows passion to grow without destruction. You begin to let go of the belief that love must be earned through suffering. You realize that the right connection doesn't exhaust you, it restores you, and his peace becomes contagious. Around him, you're more centered. You don't just feel safe with him, you feel safe within yourself. It's subtle, but it's life-changing. Because so much of what we call love is just reenactment of our wounds. We chase people who feel familiar, not because they're right, but because they match our pain. But when the universe brings someone who doesn't match your chaos, it can feel almost unnatural at first. You may even question it. Is it too easy? Too calm? Too different? But that's only because your nervous system is adjusting to the absence of fear. And here's the truth. The right person won't make you feel high. He'll make you feel home. That feeling you've been chasing in all the wrong places, the sense of belonging, the ease, the deep exhale. You'll find it in his presence. Not because he completes you, but because he doesn't require you to be anything other than who you already are. And when life throws its inevitable storms, because it will, he doesn't disappear. He doesn't shut down or run. He becomes the person who stands beside you with quiet strength, not solving everything, but reminding you that you're not alone. That's the kind of love that doesn't just feel good, it heals. He shows you that you don't have to sacrifice peace for love, that you don't have to settle for uncertainty just to feel desired. He teaches you without words that true connection isn't loud, it's grounded. It's not a performance, it's presence. And when you experience that, you'll never crave chaos again. You'll stop entertaining anything that costs you your peace, because now you know what it feels like to be met, not just emotionally or physically, but energetically, spiritually. So when he walks into your life and you feel that stillness rise up in you, when your heart no longer feels like it's in a fight for survival, pay attention. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's the universe saying, this is what you've been waiting for. This is what you were meant to receive. There's a strange truth that most people don't understand until they've lived it. The right person, the one the universe has chosen for you, might not stay the first time they arrive. You may cross paths when one or both of you aren't ready. You may meet him at a moment when your soul recognizes him, but your wounds are still too loud. And so he leaves, or you do. And at first it feels like an ending. It feels like you missed your moment. But in reality, it's just the beginning of something far deeper, something the universe is preparing behind the scenes, far beyond what your current awareness can grasp. Divine timing is rarely convenient. It rarely follows your plan, but it is always perfect. When he reappears, not as someone chasing you, but as someone who's also grown into alignment, you'll feel it. You'll feel that something has changed. The energy won't be frantic. The questions won't be loud. There's a quiet understanding, an unspoken awareness that this time is different. Because now you're both meeting as people who have done the inner work, who have walked through their own fires, who don't need to be saved, just seen. That's the thing most people don't talk about. Timing is everything. Two people can be perfect for each other but completely misaligned in time. And when that happens, it doesn't mean the connection was wrong. It means the lesson wasn't finished yet. Sometimes the space between the first meeting and the real beginning is exactly what's needed. That space holds the growth. That space holds the pain that refines you. That space allows you to face yourself without the distraction of someone else's reflection. And when he returns, when the universe brings him back into your orbit, it's not forced. It's not out of desperation or loneliness. It's as if life has slowly and deliberately woven your paths back together, and this time the pieces fit, without needing to be hammered into place. You won't need to convince each other of anything. You'll feel the alignment in the way you breathe around each other, in the way your values echo now instead of clash. You'll both carry the scars from what life taught you in the time apart, but those scars won't scare you anymore. They'll be proof of how far you've come. There's a kind of grace in his return that you didn't expect, not a fairy tale rescue, but a soul-level recognition. It's as if the universe is saying, now you're ready. And you'll know it, because the same things that triggered you before no longer have power over you. The emotional waves that once pulled you under now feel like gentle ripples. You've become more of yourself, and so has he. And now, instead of clinging to one another for validation, you hold space for each other's truth, without fear. That's how you know it's different. That's how you know it's real this time. There's no need to rush, no urgency to define what this is or where it's going. The pressure is gone. The fear has softened, because now you both understand that the connection wasn't broken. It was just waiting. Waiting for alignment, waiting for surrender, waiting for you to become the version of yourself who could hold a love like this with open hands, not clenched fists. He doesn't come back to restart the past. He comes back to build something new. And you're no longer trying to recreate what once was. You're both looking forward, building on a foundation of truth instead of fantasy. There is honesty now. There is vulnerability now. There is maturity in the way you love, and reverence in the way you listen. And even in the quiet moments, there is a shared knowing. You were always meant to meet again, just not before the growth, not before the lessons, not before the letting go. It won't feel like a movie scene. It won't always feel magical. Sometimes it will feel ordinary. Two people having a conversation, two souls relearning each other in the present tense. But underneath that simplicity is something sacred, something divine. A recognition that time didn't erase what mattered. It refined it. And now, the connection has room to breathe. And maybe the most beautiful part of all is this: you don't need him to prove anything anymore. You don't need him to explain where he's been. His presence is the answer. The way he shows up now, fully, consistently, with awareness and peace. That's all the confirmation you need. That's how the universe speaks. Not in noise, in return, in readiness, in presence. So if he comes back, not as the boy who left, but as the man who's arrived, with clarity in his eyes and stillness in his soul, don't let your past fears silence your present knowing. Sometimes love doesn't arrive when you want it to, but when it returns in divine timing, it arrives exactly as it's meant to. One of the most telling signs that he's the one chosen by the universe is that his presence doesn't pull you away from yourself. It pulls you deeper into who you are meant to become. With him, your purpose doesn't get quieter, it becomes louder. Your dreams don't shrink to fit the relationship, they expand, and he stands beside you, not as a distraction or a detour, but as a reminder that you were never meant to walk this path alone. It's subtle at first. You begin to notice how you talk more about your goals when he's around, how your ideas feel more real when you share them with him. You don't hesitate to speak your vision aloud because he doesn't dismiss it or diminish it. He receives it with care, and that alone is powerful. He listens in a way that tells you he sees more than just your words. He sees your mission, and it resonates with him, not because he wants to take it over, but because it matters to him that you fulfill it. This is how you know the connection is divine. He's not just interested in your heart. He's aligned with your calling. He doesn't compete with your light. He doesn't feel threatened by your power. If anything, your power draws him in more deeply. He admires the fire in you, not from a distance, but up close, knowing that standing next to it doesn't mean he'll be burned. It means he'll be warmed. And that kind of emotional maturity is rare. It means he's done his own work. It means he's not just here to witness your growth. He's here to grow with you. This isn't about codependence. It's not about needing him to make your dreams come true. It's about realizing that with the right person beside you, the path becomes clearer. Not because he gives you answers, but because his energy affirms what you already know. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop apologizing for your ambition. You begin to take up space differently. You move with more courage, more conviction, because someone you deeply trust sees the version of you you're still learning to embody. And he doesn't just support you in words. His actions match his energy. He shows up in small, quiet ways that remind you you're not alone in this. He celebrates the steps you take, even when they're messy or slow. He doesn't need you to be perfect. He just wants you to be true. And in that space of encouragement, something in you awakens. You begin to hold yourself with more grace. You begin to believe that maybe, just maybe, the life you imagined is not just a possibility. It's a calling. He's not there to complete your purpose. He's there to remind you that it's sacred, that your voice, your gifts, your contribution to this world matter deeply, and he carries himself in a way that aligns with this truth. His own life reflects intention. He's not threatened by your strength because he's found his own, and that creates a kind of harmony. Two people walking side by side, both anchored in their own missions, but moving in the same direction. There's no tug of war between love and purpose anymore. You don't have to choose. He makes it clear that the relationship isn't a container you must squeeze yourself into. It's a foundation you can build from. With him, partnership becomes fertile ground, not a trap, not a weight, a place to root yourself and rise. And when challenges come, and they will, he doesn't shut down. He leans in, not to fix you or fix everything, but to remind you of who you are, to help you remember your strength when the world makes you forget. That's what true alignment looks like. He doesn't carry your burden, but he doesn't let you carry it alone. He understands that purpose isn't always glamorous, that sometimes the most meaningful work is quiet, hidden, even painful, but he stays close, not out of obligation, but out of devotion. You begin to realize that being seen in your purpose is a different kind of intimacy. It's not just emotional closeness, it's spiritual resonance. It's someone recognizing not just your beauty or your personality, but your reason for being, and honoring it, encouraging it, protecting it, without needing to control it. That's how you know he's the one chosen by the universe. Because when you look at him, you don't see a detour. You see alignment. You see someone who came not to distract you from your path, but to remind you that love and purpose are not separate, that the right partnership doesn't take you away from your destiny, it walks you straight into it. There's a quiet moment that comes when he's the one chosen by the universe, not in a grand declaration or some overwhelming surge of emotion, but in something far more sacred, a whisper, a gentle, intuitive knowing that doesn't demand attention, but never truly goes silent either. It's that soft nudge within you that says, "This feels different." And the most remarkable part, it doesn't come with urgency. It doesn't scream. It simply exists, steady, consistent, and strangely familiar. Most people miss it because they're too busy chasing the loud moments, the fireworks, the chaos, the instant gratification that gives a temporary high but leaves the soul empty. But this kind of connection, the one written in energy and divine alignment, will speak to you in the most subtle ways. It won't demand your trust. It will earn it through presence, through the way you feel when you're with him. Even in complete silence, there will be no push, no pressure, just an internal calm that grows quietly over time, reminding you with every breath, this is safe. This is right. The intuition doesn't need proof. It doesn't need facts or confirmation from the outside world. It lives in your body, in how your shoulders relax around him, in how your breath slows, in how your thoughts settle without effort. It's not anxious love. It's not filled with overthinking or decoding mixed signals. It's an inner stillness, like something in you that's been searching, finally decided it doesn't need to search anymore. And the deeper you go into that stillness, the more you begin to see the difference between the love that excites your ego and the love that nourishes your soul. This is not about being constantly stimulated or impressed. It's about being understood without having to perform, being met without needing to shrink or dim your essence. And you'll notice your intuition will whisper louder every time you try to dismiss it. It will keep nudging you gently, bringing his name to your mind at odd times, pulling your attention back to the feeling you get when he's near. Not because it's trying to create obsession, but because it knows what alignment feels like. It knows what truth feels like. You won't need to convince yourself that he's the one. You won't need to make excuses for his absence or explanations for his confusion. Because when someone is truly aligned with you, their presence speaks louder than anything they could ever say. They show up, not in a showy, grand way, but in real, tangible ways that feel solid, reliable, clear. And your soul recognizes that. Your soul relaxes into that. It's often the quiet connections that carry the most weight, the ones that sneak up on you, not with intensity, but with depth. And you begin to feel safe in that depth, not bored, not restless, but home. That's how the universe speaks when it wants you to see clearly, not through noise, but through the absence of it. When your past has conditioned you to confuse love with uncertainty, it takes time to trust the simplicity of something real, but your intuition knows, and it will keep guiding you back to him, back to that knowing, again and again. Sometimes your mind will resist it. It will question the ease. It will search for flaws, look for reasons why this can't possibly be it. Because when you've been through pain, safety can feel foreign. Calm can feel suspicious. And love that doesn't hurt might feel unfamiliar at first. But even in that doubt, even in that hesitation, your intuition keeps whispering, "Stay here. Don't run." It's in that whisper where the truth lives. And if you're quiet enough to listen, you'll see that all the answers you've been searching for were never out there. They've always been inside you. He doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't have to have every detail figured out, but his energy will match your peace,